This is the third of 3 films in which I have been talking to you about communism and socialism. In this one, I'm going to answer the question that is often asked me, what can we do about it? Well, as the title background you just saw suggests, if we are going to you. Now, I say that because so many good people say to me, well, I'm just an ordinary person living an ordinary life. I don't even know any communists. What can I do? Well, maybe that's what you're thinking right now. I hope so, because then you're exactly the kind of person we made this film for. To make it easy to organize and to remember our various points, I'm going to flash them on the wall, like this. What we can do. The first important thing you can do is to be sure you know what communism really is and how socialism ties in with it. In other words, know your enemy. Above all, get understanding. Know both communism and socialism for what they are and what they are not, how they operate, what their goals are, why some people are attracted to them. Well, how do you go finding out the facts? Well, like every other step I shall give you, it's easy. Once you start, why, you've made a good beginning already if you've seen the other 2 films in this series. That's the title of the first one, What is Communism? You'll know why J. Edgar Hoover warns it's the greatest threat in our world today. And the second film, What's the difference between communism and socialism? You'll find out that socialism is not a softer substitute or possible prevention for communism, but may lead to it. There are good books on the subject, waiting for you at your public library, or at least there should be. This is only one of many sources, of course, but it's a good one, and it's near at hand. We'll touch on other sources in connection with the next thing you can do, and that is help others understand. Be so well informed that people will seek you out for help. This is an important contribution. And again, I want to emphasize how easy it is for you to perform a real service. Whoever you are, wherever you are, discuss the Red Menace with your neighbors, your friends, your business associates, your fellow students. It's no problem to introduce the subject. Why, the news in any paper you pick up will serve as a springboard. Besides having a new understanding yourself of stories like these, you'll be able to provide background information to your friends not found in day-to-day reports. What do you belong to? Service club, trade association, cultural group, farm bureau, church, school, PTA, sewing circle. There are thousands of ready-made audiences who welcome programs and speakers, movies, graphic material. Find out what's available and propose it to your organization. Again, there are many sources, but here's one address. Write to the National Education Program, Searcy, Arkansas. Make a note of it. Or, I'm sure you'll be able to get it from whoever is showing this film. From this nationally known Freedom Forum headquarters, honored year after year with more gold medals from Freedom Foundations at Valley Forge than any other institution, you can get entertaining and informative movies and film strips, original graphic materials complete with prepared lectures to go with them, a real help to local speakers, a wide variety of patriotic publications, and high school course outlines, right for their free catalog. Popular and authoritative lectures on our American heritage versus communism and socialism are also available.
I am distinctly honored.
That is my good friend, Dr. George S. Benson, nationally known lecturer and columnist. Just one of the outstanding speakers you can have in your town, school, church, or club. So send for your copy of this brochure that lists the great variety of patriotic materials and services. You will think of different ways they can be used in your town, your community, and your circle of friends. Next step, become politically active. American citizenship not only represents freedom and opportunities, it also imposes duties and responsibilities. This doesn't mean necessarily run for office, although some of you who are qualified should do that too. What it does mean is get out and vote. But what? There's an old saying, that we get the kind of government we deserve. And they then add, so whatever you do, vote. But simply to vote is not enough. The right to vote is important, but equally important is know what you're voting for. Study the issues, study the candidates, and then work to elect the right officials. Officials who are dedicated to the basic principles that have made America great. Surely it is obvious that the only way our country will ever come out of this Cold War alive is to elect officials who will pledge to move positively and firmly to protect our freedom, and then see that they do it. You have a first-class persuader to help you do this. It's right in your own home. It's your fountain pen or your typewriter. Public officials pay attention to letters. After all, you elected them to represent you. You should tell them how you want to be represented. Write them when you want them to do something. Write them when they do something you don't like. And when they have stood up for something you do like, well, drop them a note of appreciation. How many good-for-you letters have you written your elected representatives? That's a good tool, too. Let's use it more often. To do these things right, at the right time, you must be alert. And please note the sequence. You learn to be on the alert after you know your enemy, and after you become politically active. You learn what you are to be alert for. Are you a factory worker? A member of a union, a trade association, a service club, or a church? Be alert to spot anyone promoting the communist line and working their way into some position of authority. They may not actually be commies themselves. They may not even be fellow travelers. They may be only communist dupes, but they are dangerous. Are you a student or a teacher? Well, write to your congressman for a copy of J. Edgar Hoover's report, Communist Target Youth. See how, on direct orders from Moscow, the party is in a drive to get communist speakers into our colleges and universities, taking advantage of American academic freedom and the students' naturally inquiring minds. Their aim is to preach revolutionary tactics and change peaceful campuses into scenes like this. The communist-incited student riots in San Francisco. Communist agents make more progress where they can first make trouble. Once you understand the commie line, you can readily recognize it when it appears. The one spreading it may not be a party member himself. He may even be someone who doesn't know he is being used. One of their many tricks is to get you to agitate against something. So you see, there are things for you to do, and there are things not to do. Be on the alert to circumvent subversive activity of any kind wherever you encounter it. But, and this is also important, leave the communist hunting itself to the FBI. They are trained in this sort of thing. They appreciate any facts you can give them, but please let them do the investigating. And one thing more, let's not call anyone a communist just because he happens to disagree with us. And be doubly alert when the communists start hunting you. That's right, no matter who you are, you have your own circle of influence. So the commies want you. They have a variety of approaches. Any one of them may sound reasonable, even commendable. Just don't ever agree to join any committee, or support any cause, or sign any petition, or allow your name to be used in any manner until you know the whole story, who's behind it, what their real objectives are. For instance, not long ago I picked up a pamphlet, and here I find a long bitter blast against our Internal Security Act. Glanced through the list of names, and I was shocked to see some of these names. I can well imagine how they were obtained. One day, a telephone rang.
Hello.
Is this Mr. Fred C. Harthan?
Yes?
Mr. Harthan, I'm calling you from the headquarters of the National Assembly for Democratic Right. Dr. Lubaker suggested I call you.
Who?
Dr. Sam Lubaker. You know him, don't you?
Oh, yes, certainly.
We are organizing a list of sponsors. We'd like to use your name. Besides Dr. Lou Baker, our backers include Leonard Ricks, B.J. Merkel,
What did you say the committee was?
the National Assembly for Democratic Rights. I'm sure you're for free speech, free press, freedom of worship.
Oh, yes.
Fine, thank you,
of
Mr. Harthan. I'll give Dr. Lou Baker your regards, if I may. Goodbye.
Just like that, huh?
But he already had Lou Baker, Ricks, Merkel.
And now he has you. And will get more with your name. You have all signed for one of the notorious communist fronts, cited by the House Committee on Un-American Activities as using the Bill of Rights plea to attack our Internal Security Act. Don't let the communists use you. Please, don't be a dupe. Anyway, that's the way I wrote it in my notes. You know, even my secretary can't always read my handwriting. And so when she typed it, it came out, please, don't be a dope. And you know, her word's pretty good too. Well now, in summary, this is what you can do. Know your enemy. Help others understand. Become politically active. Get out and vote, but know what you are voting for. Work to elect the right officials. Be alert. There are many things to do. And there are things not to do. And to that list, I am going to add one more. Be constant. Perhaps this is the most difficult of all. And often, it's the most important. The other night, I was rereading a letter dated 1900 years ago. A man named Paul was writing to some of his friends in Galatia. But the exhortation is just as apt today. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. I believe that. I believe something else too. And to those of you of similar belief, in closing I would say, at least once each day, we should pray for guidance in living up to our mission as a child of God and our duties as an American citizen. That too, we can do. Will you join me?